we're really happy to be here at the UX New Zealand conference. Thanks for having us. We're actually going to do a little bit of a hybrid, so we will have this first portion live, and then we'll quickly jump over to the recording. And I don't think we will have time for Q&As now because we are a little bit delayed in the schedule, but otherwise you can use Slack and we'll be answering questions in real time. So I'm Sarah. I'm from the US. I have worked in various different locations from the Bay Area as well as Switzerland. And now I'm back in Los Angeles, which is where I'm from. And I'm excited to be here to hopefully connect with some of you.
Hello. Yeah, it's awesome to be here today, even if you could see me just through the screen. So I'm Costanza and I'm from Italy, but I'm living in Switzerland right now. I actually studied computer science engineering at EPFL before joining Logitech. And during my studies, I attended some UX courses, and I must say it was love at first sight. So today, I'm very excited to be part of a fantastic team. So I'm thrilled to joining the UX New Zealand conference. And I know I'm going to learn a lot from all of you and get inspired by all the talks. So speaking about today we will be talking about how to align design system to business strategies. So we hope that by the end of today, you will come away with valuable insights and knowledge, particularly about different ways to measure the success of a design system, steps for how to align UX and business, and last but certainly not least, we hope our section inspired you to take some of the things you learned and continue to develop them even further.
Yeah, so with that, we can probably switch over to the recording. If you head to Slack, the speakers channel, I have dropped instructions in there for how to get in contact with us and leave questions. So we'll be answering over there if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's topic is on building and evolving a design system that aligns UX strategy with the business. We'll be sharing with you our learnings and steps that we've taken for Logitech's design system. Speaking on this topic is my colleague Costanza Volpini, our product UX design engineer who has been taking lead on our design systems, and myself, Sarah Chang, head of UX for our global e-commerce websites. We'll be covering this talk in 4 parts. First, we want to give you a short background on our team and product. Quickly following, we'll show you how we built and measured the results of our design system. In the third part, we'll go through a step-by-step process for how to align UX and business. And lastly, we'll give you a quick overview, including some resources. With that said, let's jump into background. Here's our UX team. Currently, we are comprised of 4 teams: research, strategy, design, and personalization. There are 19 of us, believe it or not, and we started with only 4 in just 2016. We are a fully remote team, which has been the source of our challenge because it's very difficult to find ways to communicate together without compromising someone's work-life balance. Our product is our mini e-commerce websites. They are built on Adobe Experience Manager, or AEM, Salesforce Commerce Cloud, which is our commerce platform, and Digital River, which is our merchant of record. The largest challenge here has been our recent switch to Salesforce, as business groups have turned on new sales capabilities and thus has disrupted the site experience and usability of some of our pages. This leads us now to our design system. For Logitech specifically, we found that without a design system, we lacked a common language and source of truth between teams, resulting in many repetitive tasks. Our goals for the design system were to improve collaboration, save time and money for the company, and increase revenue. But of course, the real challenge for design systems is how to get investment in the first place. You can't just say you want one because everyone else has a design system. That means you need to be able to make a business case for why you actually need a design system. You need to sell the vision and scalability and best-in-class experience that you're going to be able to provide by having a design system. Here is a very non-technical graph that was created in order to explain to leadership. By having a design system, we will be able to increase employee productivity, allowing them to focus on work that impacts the business rather than spending unnecessary time on extra, smaller tasks and projects. This is how we ended up with our design system today, which we call Apollo. With very limited resources, we were able to build a working design system from scratch in about 6 months. And with that, I'll pass it over to Costanza to walk us through the design system process and results.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm now going to cover our process and results. When we talk about design system maturity, we refer to how capable our design system is of being a self-service for our employees and partners. 3 factors influence its maturity. Share knowledge. So how can we share knowledge with our employees and partners in a format such as providing the right documentation or guidelines? Second, empower. This refers mostly on how can Apollo empower our employees with the new necessary tools. And last, alignment. So how can we align everyone with the same business initiatives and goals? Essentially, how can we standardize our strategy and decision-making process? It's important to mention that these 3 factors are very related, and that makes it hard to avoid not working parallel on all 3. So what worked for us was to allocate more time and resources to 1 factor at a time, but in the meantime, keep improving a bit the other 2. If it is helpful, you can think to the 3 stages as your roadmap milestones. In this presentation, we will only cover the results obtained from the first 2 stages. From the implementation of a knowledge sharing system, we achieved a smoother conversation and much less back and forth. But at the same time, having provided the right tools to our employees has improved how they work, getting fewer requests for developers, higher quality design, leading to a significant time saving. These results are important to mention to leadership. However, they will not guarantee that the leadership team will see the value of your design system. Indeed, to show its value, you have to speak in business terms. So you have to demonstrate the return on investment in terms of money and time. Continuously measuring the result of a design system is often a difficult and forgotten task, but it's very important for receiving important investment from leadership. For our initial launch, we didn't have many metrics that we actually could pull outside of our direct UX team. So
We actually did what we could. And now if we look at the leftmost column product page as an example, before the design system, it took like 40 hours to design one product page. And now we managed to reduce the time down to 16 hours. If you look at the last 6 months, we have designed 29 product pages, which can correspond to more or less 700 hours saved. By applying the same analysis across just 8 of our projects, we can already start to paint a picture around develop a design system. The return on investment on these 8 optimized projects can be framed in 3 different ways. The first one will be around 6,000 hours saved per year. That's about 151 full working days that the teams get back each year. Another way to look at it is that we are gaining 171 minutes per day. And that's almost 3 hours that every designer gets back each working day. And that's a lot. And of course, we can look at it from a dollar amount. We're saving over $300,000 annually. It's important to mention that these cost savings are expected to increase with the time. And that was actually just for design. There are actually many other roles that the design system has impacts to, such as content author, who will save time using some pre-configured templates and patterns, or developers, who will receive less development requests, allowing them to focus on the stuff that matter, like performance, optimization, and accessibility. Or QA, that can now test exact use cases and don't have actually to test everything anymore. Project managers have a better insight into process, documentation, and have a shared language. Stakeholders will now be able to understand our tools, capabilities, and strategies, and even external teams can jump right in and work with our system more easily. But on top of the roles, there are other benefits for both the customer and brands. Having a design system improves the overall site experience, brand perception, and customer satisfaction. Indeed, the experience will be enhanced as it will be more usable, made up of higher quality, more accessible, and consistent design. The experience will therefore appear more authentic in the eyes of your visitor. As a matter of fact, they will get a better reputation of your brand. And you know what that means? It means that it will lead to more sales and higher customer loyalty. And beside the result, you should remember to don't stop improving your design system. No matter how good were the results you obtained. That's very important. As a design system is an ongoing product, you should always look for a way to turn your employees' needs into opportunities. In our case, this involved aligning our teams more on the various business initiatives. Another challenge we ran into was aligning teams on the various goals. Because until now, our UX and business were not aligned, and that kind of impacted how we design solutions and how we measure their success. And now I would like to give the stage back to Sarah, who will present our step-by-step process for aligning UX and business.
Thanks, Costanza. Next, let's talk about alignment within the organization. UX teams can gain business and UX strategy alignment in 4 steps. Step 1 is to identify the focus areas of your product and to create shared definitions. Step 2 is to establish the goals and KPIs for each of those focus areas. Step 3 is to integrate all of the established knowledge into systems and processes. And step 4 is to measure the success of all your work. We'll be covering each of these steps in further detail in the following slides. But in general, this is the 4 steps that you can probably follow to be able to reach UX maturity and to hopefully focus all of your work towards impactful business returns. So, diving into step 1, identify the key focus areas of your product and create shared definitions for everything. For Logitech, this came in the form of 4 different areas. We have our product areas, which include key portions of the site, such as navigation, search, authenticated accounts, and cart and checkout. Then we have page types, such as homepage, product detail pages, article pages, and so forth. It was important for us to clearly define the customer journey and sales tactics. Here's an example of how we defined cross-selling. A sales approach that identifies products that satisfy additional complementary needs that are unfulfilled by the original item. Adding a clear definition makes it easier to strategize on which use cases are valid or which are not. By identifying these key focus areas, you are figuring out the what. What do we as a company want to invest time and resources towards? I'll give you another example. What is a navigation for? Some business groups might argue that it's a place for them to add links to new pages that they've created so that our customers can easily find those pages. Obviously, that's not how we want to be using our navigation. So let's define it. Defining everything allows for teams to result in better working solutions. The next step, step 2, once you define each focus area, you'll need to establish the goals and KPIs. Starting with the goal, decide what the primary goal is for the business and customer. It's not always the same goal. Once you have the goal, you'll need to choose the right KPIs for them. It's completely fine to have multiple KPIs, but you'll want to make sure that you only have one primary KPI. Now, why is it so important to set goals and KPIs? I'll take Logitech's dock cart as an example. We received a request to add product recommendations in the docked cart. If the business goal of the docked cart is to get customers to check out and the KPI is cart completion rate, that means adding product recommendations is the wrong strategy. Although it may increase the average order value, it may negatively impact the primary goal and KPI of providing a speedy and easy checkout. Don't let not having clear goals and KPIs pull your strategies and solutions in all different directions. Also, before we move on to the next slide, I want to call out that when picking KPIs, it's absolutely important to include UX success metrics too, and not just business ones. Step 3 is to integrate everything from step 1 and 2 into your systems and processes. This goes back to the heart of how design systems can provide value to the business. Documenting focus areas, goals, and KPIs keeps everyone aligned and responsible for outputting high quality, impactful work. It can even help with setting priorities and direction. You'll need to fit this into whatever your organization's existing intake process is, and to identify initiatives that have the most return on investment. You can do this by using a priority calculator or whatever other method that your company uses. At Logitech, we are using a priority calculator with the following different inputs: level of effort, potential increase to revenue, impact to user experience, site performance, efficiency, and potential increase to the QX score. And it's best to always encourage the following, because a lot of people always forget when working on new initiatives that they must focus on the problem, not the solution, always align to the goal, and use data and research to guide the teams. The last step, step 4, is that UX teams must measure the success of all current and future work. What it boils down to for every team within a company is, how can you measure the success or impact? For UX, it may seem or feel a little subjective. That's why it's that much more important that we measure using real data. There are many ways to measure, such as by looking at the efficiency of your internal tools and usage, tracking the amount of time spent on repetitive tasks, measuring whether or not you've achieved your goals and KPIs, or by leveraging benchmarking. However you measure, you need to also be able to share out the stats in an easy to consume way. This is your time to shine and to put a spotlight on your team's impact. And if in the end you don't do any of these steps, at least get this one right. Know how to speak with leadership and executives. They don't want to hear about how you successfully added all of your website's components to your design system. You'll lose them if that's the type of updates you're sharing. You need to be able to show numbers of how you've reduced company spend on development hours or improved net promoter scores through a more consistent web experience. If you can't communicate why leadership should care or how your work impacts their priorities, you've already lost their interest. Remember that all companies have priorities, and whatever you work on needs to ladder up to the top.
Thanks, Sarah. We reached the end of our presentation, but please don't leave now. I just wanted to quickly share a couple of slides that might be useful for your design system. And you are welcome to take a picture. To conclude, I would like to show you a small visual that might come in handy as a reminder of how to align business with UX strategy. That is, start by identifying your product focus area and creating definition. Then, establish goals and KPI for each of the focus area. After that, integrate all established knowledge into system and process. And finally, measure the success of the business aligned to the UX strategy. In a nutshell, use UX metrics to establish KPI. UX improvements should be a priority for the business. Lastly, I wanted to share with you some resources in case you want to start a design system and don't know where to begin. Design systems are a hot topic nowadays, so you're lucky as the internet is full of great resources. Here are some of the best ones we used for Apollo. From books considered pillars of the design system to some articles and blogs. I highly recommend checking out all the articles published by Nathan on Medium. Some are quite long, I know, but really well explained. Also on YouTube, all the talks from Clarity, Design System London, and Figma are extremely valuable. I think that it's very important to research and learn from the design system implemented by other companies. And here are a list of our favorite ones. Keep in mind that what worked for some organization might not work for yours. You need to make your own solution, your own design system. Another thing that I really love about design system is that when you enter this world, you will find so many people willing to share their ideas, articles, or start a good discussion. And if I need to think about communities and I need to pick one, I strongly suggest joining the Design System Slack group. While we didn't have a lot of time to actually show our design system, we do hope that you learned something new today. If you're interested in having a look at our design system, you can visit it at design.logitech.com. And you're welcome to take picture of our contact info if you would like to send us a message after the conference. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you.